who is the most normal Genshin Impact character. All of the vision holders have unique personalities, appearances, backstories, and ambitions, but I saw an opinion that caught my attention. It basically states that Nilou is the only normal character in Genshin Impact, not having a depressing backstory, heavy responsibility, or is a wielder of any legendary power. Though I do think she's more toned down compared to most vision holders. Is she actually the most normal? I wanted to figure that out in this video. First, we have to learn on what the meaning of normal is, as it changes immensely. For example, in the eyes of Sumeru, Nilou is absolutely not normal, because she practices the arts, specifically dance, and it is frowned upon by the people. To solve this, I will try to answer 4 different types of normal, each from a different perspective. Who is the most normal character, from the opinion of the citizens of Mondstadt? Most normal, from the perspective of Liyue, the most normal, in the eyes of Inazuma, the most normal, from Sumeru's point of view, and who is the most normal, if we look at all the characters, and their traits, backstories, responsibilities, species, and so on. Let's begin. In the eyes of Mondstadt, it has to be someone who doesn't have a big responsibility or role, to the point that the citizens think they are higher or more supreme than others, like Jean, who is the acting Grand Master, Luke, who owns a winery and is rich, Barbara, who is a famous idol, and Albedo, a smart and well-known alchemist. Venti doesn't count here, as the common people don't know he's their Archon. Someone who has shown that they hold an immense amount of knowledge, power, or both, that would seem unusual to others, like Klee, with her explosive strength of bombs, her story quest, even being named on who is the strongest fighter in Mondstadt, Lisa, with her electrifying power and knowledge, also unique backstory, Noelle, with her superhuman strength, Mona, with her unique foresight ability, not being replicated by anyone else so far, and Albedo, being Albedo. Someone who doesn't have a trait or quirk that doesn't exactly belong in the City of Freedom, like Eula, who was from the Lorange clan, which is looked down upon, Kea, who was actually not from Mondstadt, and is conflicted if he'll fight for his nation, Rosaria, who's just really shady, and doesn't actively worship their Archon, and Diona, who hates wine, in the City of Wine. Someone whose actions can be seen as very strange or unusual, like Razor, who struggles interacting with humans, preferring to be with his wolf friends, Fischl, who acts like a character from a novel, Venti, never using Mora to buy wine, because he doesn't have them, and just pays by song, and Bennett, who does things that seem absolutely absurd to other people, but is normal for him, because of his bad luck. With all that considered, I think the most normal character from Mondstadt is Amber. Her responsibility is being an outrider, which is pretty normal, as 7 other characters also work for the Knights. Her personality is cheerful, bubbly, and positive, not uncommon at all. Her backstory is quite sad, but not that extremely traumatic, compared to the others. She doesn't have anything that makes her stand out too much, so that's why I picked her as the most normal character in Mondstadt. Sucrose could have also been a good option, but her ears, something that only resembles a few characters, is unique, and her shy personality, I guess, can also be perceived as unusual. Noelle maybe too, but her superhuman strength stands out too much, but her job and personality match. Up next is who is the most normal, from the perspective of Liyue's people. Someone who isn't an Adeptus, or has close ties to them, like Xiao, who is an actual Yaksha, Gunyu, who is half Adeptus, Yanfei, who is also half Adeptus, and Shinhe, who lived with the Adepti. Zhongli doesn't count here, as common people don't know he is the prime Adeptus. Next, someone whose role or responsibility makes the citizens think that they are more supreme than others, like Ningguang, who is literally the leader of their nation, Kei Jing, who closely work with Ningguang, Xingzhou, who is the son of a famous guild, and Baido, who just seems cool to others, and I don't blame them one bit. Someone who doesn't have a weird quirk that might seem unusual, like Zhongli's immense knowledge about basically everything in Liyue, Chongyun, needing ice popsicles to calm down, Hu Tao's weird promotions for death, Yelan, just being really shady, and Xin Yan, making rock music, something that is not accepted by everyone. Considering all of this, it was really difficult to place the most normal character, because all of them are very unique in some way. In the end, the closest to normal is Yoonjin. She's a little bit famous, which is unique, but other than that, she's the closest to normal. Her job is not too unusual, her backstory is quite normal, her personality is fine, and she has nothing going on that stands her out too much from the other citizens. Xi Yongling, I also considered as a choice, though she is also quite famous. Her job is normal, her personality is fine, though she does like making weird dishes, and somehow doesn't get sick from it. Her trainer is also an adeptus, and she has a god as a pet, but I'm not sure if people know that information, so I went with the opera singer. Next, for Inazuma, this one is also pretty difficult. Someone who isn't mixed with a different species, like Ito, who is an Oni, Sarah, who is a Tengu, Miko, who is a fox, and Goro, who is a dog. Someone who doesn't have a big responsibility, like Raiden Shogun, their god, Kokomi, leader of Watatsumi, Ayato, the Yashiro commissioner, and Ayaka, the face of their clan. Someone with an unusual job, or lack thereof, like Saryu, who is a ninja, Ito, who doesn't have a job, Kazuha, who seems to just be wandering around, also he left, or Shinobu, who is the deputy of Ito's clan. All of this in consideration, my final choice, for the most normal character, for the citizens of Inazuma, is Yoimiya. Everything about her is not too unusual, like her job as a fireworks maker, her personality of being very happy, and her backstory not being very tragic, no death in sight. She can get very enthusiastic, and sometimes extreme, with fireworks, but not too much, unlike Klee with bombs. Toma and Heizo could also be a good option, but I would say their jobs are more unique, Toma being a housekeeper of the Kamisato clan, and Heizo being a famous detective of the Tenryou Commission. Their backstories are also a lot more tragic than our fireworks maker, so that's why I picked her. Next, from the perspective of the citizens of Sumeru, some of this I'm basing from the fragments of information we got in the Archon quest. Someone who isn't too intelligent, or has a high or low status that makes people react a certain way, like Sino, Alhaitham, and the Dendro Archon. This one is a bit controversial. So, I assume most citizens of Sumeru live in the city, so immediately, anyone who lives or works outside of it, they see as unusual. So, I have to eliminate everyone who is in the desert or forest, like Tineri, Kalei, Deya, and Candace. Also have to get rid of Nilou, because practicing the arts is uncommon. But wait, I eliminated all the characters. Well, there's actually one left remaining. Layla, from the drip marketing. I pick her as the most normal, as she seems to just be a normal student who is barely awake all the time. I assume most people of Sumeru are like that, overworked student, so she's the most normal. I know what you're saying, is this just a cheap tactic, because we don't know her lore yet, and to that, I say. Finally, for our grand finale. Which Genshin Impact character is the most normal out of all? If we're going by the post's original basis, no depressing backstory, heavy responsibility, or wielder of legendary power, Nilou is definitely normal. Even if we add things like ambition or personality, she still wouldn't be too unique, as multiple other characters have dancing as a skill. Though her character is still definitely distinct, and contains things that others don't. Some characters I would like to add in this normal list is Yoimiya, as she also checks all the boxes. Her excitement of fireworks does make her unique, like Klee, but it's a lot more toned down as well. Tineri also comes to mind when thinking of normal. He somewhat said it himself in his Troubles voice line. Though he does have an unusual amount of intelligence, and is part of a different species, so he goes a bit lower in the normal list. Yoonjin, I would say, also checks all the boxes, having no sad backstory, very closely matched with Nilou's normalness, me having a hard time to decide which one is higher. I guess the moral here is if you want to be normal in Genshin, just dance. But wait, who's the character that will be the most abnormal then. Well, I now know what will be my next video topic. Thank you all so much for watching. What parts do you agree or disagree with? Comment down below. Subscribe and like if you ended up enjoying this video. Bye.